what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
This is a previously recorded episode of Making Living Better on WHKY, Catawba County, North Carolina's radio source for first-person storytelling.
Good morning. Welcome back to First Talk with Hal Row on WHKY Talk Radio for the Greater Hickory Metro. We're continuing our Making Living Better series. We're working in concert with the fine folks in Catawba County to talk about their brand, Making Living Better, but the brand is so much more than that. It's about people. It's about the community. And we meet some Catawbans during this Making Living Better series. This morning, we're pleased to meet Mr. Justus Rowe, who is with the founder of the City Farm Project. Visit cityfarmproject.com. He said he wouldn't be mad at me if I put a .com on the end of that. Nice to meet you this morning, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good to be here.
Now, you grew up in the area, and from what I understand, your dad was a pastor. Is that right? Pastor in the area?
That's right.
So you kind of grew up, and I guess it's the same thing with a pastor's kid that I've heard of in the past. Everybody's kind of keeping an eye on you. You got to watch, got to be on your best behavior, right?
That's exactly right.
So you grew up with the City Farm Project. This kind of grew out of what was happening when you were a younger fella, because if I got the information right, your granddad was very into gardening and farming. Right. Is that right? Tell me a little bit about your granddad.
Sure. So if you're in the southwest quadrant of Hickory, on 7th Avenue, there's an apartment complex called Garden View Apartments. It was named after his garden.
Really?
They built those apartments, and the back deck overlooked that. And my father tells me stories about growing up on the farm with the pigs, cows, and creek to play in,
right,
and fields to run in. So from a young age, I've kind of had that visual in my mind about what, serene life could look like. And Dad's always gardened. We would sit in the driveway of a dead-end street selling tomatoes off my mom's nursing scale.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So from a young age, I've just been around food, enjoying food. I married a beautiful registered dietitian who loves food also. So we kind of begin to marry our interests and create a business that would help the community grow and eat healthy food.
I want to find out more about you in a few minutes, but I want to find out about the City Farm Project, because that's going to be what we're talking about throughout the morning.
Sure.
What is the City Farm Project?
City Farm Project grew out of a need to see people grow their own food and eat healthy food. So we go in and help organizations and families build growing infrastructure, things like greenhouses, chicken coops, raised gardens, and we do some consultation. I actually just got finished with a project this week doing some consultation for a gentleman in Statesville who's got an aquaponic greenhouse and needed some help thinking through some troubleshooting issues and building some things on his system.
As we go through this, I'm going to ask some questions, things I'm not familiar with.
Absolutely.
Aquaponics, that's not the same as hydroponics, right? Aquaponics. Tell me about aquaponics.
So aquaponics is the marriage of hydroponics, which is water-based growing,
right,
vegetables, and aquaculture, which is fish farming. So you use the fish waste to fertilize the plants, essentially.
Are you raising fish at the same time?
Yes. Yep. So you got protein and vegetables in the same system being produced.
Really? So you got your fish over here. Now, generally, is it a tilapia, or can you use catfish? Or tell me a little bit about aquaponics. So I'm raising fish. I didn't know this.
Okay.
So am I raising any type of fish that I want to?
Yep. You could. Most fish will work. Tilapia do well in this area, and you can use catfish. Some people use trout. Koi fish, some people are fans of. Yep. So anything that does well in this climate with these typical water temperatures that you can feed. Yep,
do you find that a lot of younger folks may be getting into this? Maybe granddad had a garden, but maybe mom and dad did not, and they weren't out there because my mom and dad had a garden. They had about an acre down at the bottom, down near the creek.
Sure.
They had a garden. Yep. So I remember they would get the tiller out. I wasn't supposed to play with a tiller when I was a kid, but they'd get the tiller out, they'd till it up every year, and that's where we would have fresh-grown vegetables.
Absolutely.
But I did not learn enough to actually do that myself. Mom and Dad knew that. That was a skill they kind of got. I can remember snapping the beans. I can remember eating the food that came from the garden. But do you find a lot of young folks want to do this and maybe just don't have the skill set, don't have the knowledge or information?
Absolutely. Yeah. And time. It just takes time. Period.
Yeah.
You can't get away from it. It takes a little bit of time, especially on the front end. Once the seed or plant is in the ground, it kind of times in your favor, but it takes a while to get to that point. So we kind of specialize in helping get people to that point. You come in on a weekday, get their garden set up, and then on the weekend they can plant it and tend it from there. So a little bit of maintenance, but the upfront time is what we have found is a tough spot for
the
people.
reason I ask that is because we're talking about maybe traditional gardening. Someone can put in a garden down. They've got a little land.
Right.
Maybe live out in the country a little bit.
Right.
They can do that.
Yep.
Maybe grandma or grandpa can help them with that. Maybe they're not that type of person though, and maybe they're working from home. Maybe they are a person who is working with a technology company and they're not doing the 9 to 5, and they maybe have the time to do something. Because I'm thinking the aquaponics may require more time. This is somebody who's looking a little bit more self-sufficiency, raising the fish and raising the vegetables. Is that right?
A little bit more involved on the knowledge aspect. You know, you've got to learn the science of what fish need and what plants need. And but as far as the daily maintenance, it's not as much time as you would imagine.
Really?
Because you're not weeding, you're not watering. Those type of maintenance things are already taken care of. But you do have to test the water. Make sure your nutrients are balanced, pH and such. So it does take that type of maintenance, but not your we'll call it back-breaking maintenance that you're used to in the traditional gardens.
So let's just say that I wanted to get set up, and I wanted to make sure that my fish were not that they were healthy fish, that they did not have any type of antibiotics, that they did not have any type of. I knew the water that was coming in there. Yep. I knew what I was raising, and I wanted to raise my vegetables the same way. That I didn't want to go pay organic prices at the grocery store, but I wanted organic. So you can kind of help us get set up with that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd say our most popular option for that is our raised gardens. We'll do 3 foot wide by 12 foot long raised gardens in different styles that people can get out there, and they come about 2 foot off the ground, so they're easy to work out of, and the soil's a little bit looser, so the plants grow better. It's easy to work in.
What are most people growing? Because I'm thinking you said tomatoes. I'm thinking in our area, is that where they start?
Oh yeah, tomatoes, lettuce, greens. A lot of people are into kale, spinach, things like that. Squash and zucchini do great.
So many people visit the farmers market and do that. I think, if I'm not mistaken, from the information I got, the City Farm Project, you can help people if they want to start gardening and possibly selling to some other folks. Maybe people get into their tomatoes, and everybody's saying, your tomatoes are really good. Next thing you know, you can help people maybe with a stand at the farmer, or growing part of it with a stand down at the farmer's market.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've had a stand at the farmer's market the last 2 years.
You have?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yep, and have enjoyed being down there with that community of people. It's a lot of fun.
What products do you sell?
So we've sold pork, chicken, and various vegetables. Yep.
Pork and chicken.
Yep.
We're going in a different direction now, because I was thinking, some fish for some protein, and I was thinking maybe tomatoes, maybe lettuce, maybe some asparagus, something like that. Right. But tell me a little bit about because I'm considering this like livestock, right?
Sure, yeah. So we had the opportunity to move on to a 10-acre homestead in South Hickory.
Oh, very nice. In Hickory.
In Hickory, yeah. Well, it's my neighbors are in Hickory city limits, and our border is right in the county. So the Hickory conveniences to the county life. So
very nice. Okay.
Yeah. So we moved in August and decided it would be a good idea to raise pigs a month later. So we started pigs September 2016. It was not a good idea. We found out it was not a good idea. If you remember
the date, September 2016, that's obviously like a benchmark in what's going on. So raising pigs, huh?
Yeah. Let's put it this way. I got to meet a lot of my neighbors, and they're very nice, even though their yards got torn up because the pigs are curious.
And pigs got loose.
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. So we raised pigs for 2 years. We just phased out of that until we get our fence system set up well.
Phased out of that production, right?
Yeah. So hoping we'll start back in 2019. But we have chickens and a small garden. And right now we're raising babies. So
good.
Yeah,
well, congratulations on that. Tell me about that part of your life. You're married, and you got one child?
That's right. Yeah. Married to Abby, and my son's name is Peter. He's 9 months old.
Oh, nice.
And we had 2 beautiful foster children for a year and a half, and they just moved out a month ago.
Okay.
So we went from living the fun young married life with no kids to 10-acre farm and a full house in no time. So
I got to ask you this:
Sure.
those foster kids, you miss them, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
got a lot of great memories.
That's one of the things that I hear people about fostering. It takes a special kind of person to do that.
Sure.
To have those children to come into your home and then to say goodbye, but that's what you're there for, is to get them lined back up with their family and to take good care of them. So God bless you for that. I think that's fantastic. Good for you. We come back and we'll talk a little bit more about the City Farm Project, but I want to also talk a little bit about you. Interesting, guy. You got tired of people. You said, enough. I'm going to go live in a tent. Write songs about that kind of stuff, man. We come back, we'll talk about that and the way that you got plugged back in and realized you really liked people a lot more. First talk.
Catawba County, come to Catawba County, making living better. Come to Catawba County. There's everything from historical sites to higher education. Take a stroll through Murray's Mill or walk through Bunker Hill Covered Bridge. While you're at it, schedule a tour of Lenore Ryan University or Catawba Valley Community College.
You can even enjoy a nice baseball game with Hickory Crawdads. If you're looking for a job, Catawba County is the place to come. You might know some of our corporations here like Apple or CommScope. Also, come check out our amazing K-12 public schools.
We hope to see you soon!
Good morning. Welcome back to First Talk with Hal Row on WHKY Talk Radio for the Greater Hickory Metro. Justus Rowe joins us this morning, part of the Making Living Better podcast that are presented by Catawba County. We work with them on developing those as well as the mesh as well. But they're kind enough to do an interview and help us meet some really, really cool people like Justus Rowe. You're a young guy, but you've got a great history because you were thinking maybe growing up that you were going to go into church music. Is that right? That's kind of the area.
Mostly, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you've also got different types of training because initially when you got out of high school, you were thinking maybe mechanic or maybe NASCAR. I don't know. Where was that leading you?
So I went into shop class in high school. Got really interested in mechanics and just working with my hands.
Right.
I didn't fit in real well in English and stuff like that.
Right.
So shop class was attractive, and a guy came in and made a presentation on the type of school and education and career you can make in mechanics. So did that for a year. Realized it wasn't for me.
Right.
Learned a ton. Super thankful for it.
But so that's all part of the building to kind of where you are today.
Right.
You were able to learn that part of it.
Right, yeah.
So then after that, I guess you decided, is that when you decided maybe musical pursuit? Take a look at music? As maybe in the church, or is it a career?
Yep. So did the rest of my college career at Liberty University studying music.
Lynchburg, Virginia?
Yep.
Right.
Specialized in drums and did a few guitar classes and just general music theory, which was, again, super fun.
Right.
Realized I needed a little bit more hands-on work in my life, so all the while I'm hustling Craigslist, handyman stuff, doing contract work, building, painting, things like that.
So you're busy, and it becomes a stressful time in life for you.
Right.
And you're thinking, okay, enough's enough, man. I'm going to check out for a little bit here.
Yep.
I'm going to go live in a tent, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But so you checked out and went to the woods for a couple of weeks, and I guess did some spiritual reflection and
Sure.
and spent some time there kind of figuring some stuff out.
Absolutely, yes. So I graduated, and a couple of weeks before I graduated, I bought my wife's engagement ring and decided that I needed to take a break from people. Life was too crazy. Went and slept in a tent for about 2 weeks by myself and just, like you say, reflecting and thinking about my future marriage and thinking about where I want to go with life in general.
That's great, man.
Yeah,
I think if people had the opportunity and could do that and can kind of get away from the noise
Sure.
and just kind of settle in and say, okay, what's this life going to be like? I got somebody else now in my life, and where have I been and where do I want to be? I think that's just great, man, that you did that.
Sure.
A lot of people talk about it, but actually to be able, how meaningful was that to you to where you are today? Do you think that 2 weeks that you just took out away from, what did you learn from it? What did you take away from that? Because I think it's really cool.
I got about 2/3 of the way through it and was realized I was ready to be back around my people, and I came from you just realize how much you're grateful for when you get a clear head away from and I got a great family, great parents. raised me well, loved each other, great in-laws, loved each other, stayed together,
Right.
and so I just realized how I'm a little bit of a minority as far as the family I came from.
Right.
And then realized how much I just like being around people, how much I want to be around people and just talk, have conversations over coffee and have people in our homes. And
Right.
and so and at the same time, I'm thinking about my future marriage. I'm thinking about future employment. I've got journals from my pros and cons of, do I want to be self-employed? And so I decided to do that. It's fun to look back and see journals from that whole struggle. And
Right.
So yeah, it was just a great time to look back on and think about being a solidifying thought processes going on there.
That's wonderful. So you came out of that, and then one of the things, I guess, is you're starting to think about food. You're starting to think about eating. You're starting to think about employment.
Sure.
Is this kind of where the City Farm Project came from those thoughts and those journals, and decided that, yeah, I can do this. I want to move ahead, and here's my skill set.
Yep.
Here's what I like, and you kind of move from there?
I like food. I like building stuff, so why not combine it? I got in a relationship with a couple of guys who we thought we were going to do commercial aquaponics, realized that wasn't us, so I finished out my relationship with them, kind of doing contract work to finish building the system.
Right.
And we started this business in 2015, and been trying to marry the two ideas for a while, do the building stuff and food stuff at the same time.
This is a for-profit company. This is a business that you came up with.
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing most of your work in the area, or are you online and maybe go to Virginia, South Carolina? Tell me a little bit about the main area that you're working in.
Well, mostly Catawba County.
Catawba County.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're home at night. You're not traveling. You're able to go do it right here.
Right. Yeah. We've done a couple extended projects on special occasions in both Virginia and South Carolina, but primarily in the county here.
Now, from what I understand, we can see some of your work on display. Is that right? Is it the Catawba Science Center or something like that? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, one of our big projects is at Catawba Science Center. We built the raised gardens for Hickory Greenway Harvest, which is a great nonprofit led by Marcus Miller in the area. And then we built an aquaponic greenhouse that displays and educates what aquaponics is to the local community. It's been a really neat project to be involved with a few organizations like the Salt Block, like Raising Roots Farm with Brandon Berry, like Hickory Greenway Harvest. So,
and one of the great things about being from the area, when you were a kid, you used to go to the Catawba Science Center, right? Did I get that right? Like your grandmother would take you over there, and you were like, this is cool.
That was our Saturday morning event with my mama, and she would take us to the Science Center to learn that stuff. So it's definitely a full circle, getting to contribute back to the community that gave back to me. So
I think it's interesting that you're taking a look at something that is old as we are ourselves, gathering food, protein, subsistence. I mean, I think that's great, that part of it. But then you're looking at the latest technology and the latest way to do this in the most efficient, cleanest, best practice way. And you're putting those things together. You're actually able to build that system for folks that they can start to do this.
Right. Yeah. So
how do they get in touch with you?
The City Farm Project.
Give you a real quick commercial, man.
Sure, yeah. The cityfarmproject.com.
Right.
You can reach me at my personal cell phone. It's 828-320-6793. Again, that's 828-320-6793. We do most of our City Farm Project work from like March to June or July.
Right.
Then it gets hot and nobody wants to be outside. So then I shift over to handyman work. So I work with landlords and realty groups, property management groups to do home renovations during the wintertime.
But you were able to do this right here in Catawba County. You were able to develop what you wanted, follow your passion, follow your love to make a living at it, and you were able to do it right here in Catawba County.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's great that you were able to stay here, find out what you wanted in life, the people that you wanted around. It's a wonderful story. Justus Rowe, thanks so much for joining us.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening. To find more first-person stories from Catawba County, visit makinglivingbetter.com or tune into themesh.tv each month for a new podcast.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.